Welcome back, everybody, to another episode. I believe this is episode 5 of Forged in Thought. This is RedShadow Forge. We appreciate you guys tuning in. So today I want to go over a bunch of different things. The weather's kind of been really not so much on my side here lately. It's been really cold, really rainy. There was even hail the other day. But we've got a lot of new stuff going on. I've got a lot of things I want to show you guys to talk about today, and a lot that you guys can look forward to once I'm able to actually get back out here and start making more videos again. So the first thing I wanted to go over is this little guy right here. I recently posted some pictures of this. This was my camp knife that I had finished up, and I don't believe that I had done the etching before I posted the pictures, but I wanted to talk about it for a minute. This was just a camp knife that I wanted to complete so that I had some more pictures of some finished blades, of recent blades, so that you guys can take a look at what I'm able to be putting out for hopefully you guys here soon. I made this knife out of 5160 and I forged it about a month ago, and then it kind of got put on the back burner. And then recently, like I said, I wanted to get a knife finished up for you guys so that I can show you what I'm able to do. So I used a piece of deer antler that I was given for the first part of the handle, used a piece of rosewood for the second part of the handle, and then a piece of maple for the third part. Now, I've never done and completed properly a hidden tang knife, so this was my first one, which I learned a lot from it. One of the biggest hurdles that I had to deal with while I was making this was the fact that I had left the tang curved instead of keeping the tang straight and curving the handle. That brought a lot of challenges, because when you're trying to fit all these pieces to a curved tang, you have to drill the hole and broach it out. I've got a broaching tool which helps pull the material out a little faster, but I had to work with curving it in each piece of material that I was using for the handle. It wasn't a perfect fit. It wasn't super elegant like I wanted it to be, but again, this was my first one. I really wanted to try to get it completed, and the day that I actually completed it, I wasn't intending on completing it. I just wanted to work on it a little bit more. But you know how knife make goes. I started working on one thing, and I said, I could go a little bit more. I could get that done. I'm going to go ahead and hand sand. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I ended up completing the knife that day. So what I did, when I pieced all the pieces together, I used a copper and a red, I want to say it's like a construction paper material, but it's a lot thicker. I used a red spacer and a copper spacer in between all three layers, so it turned out looking really nice. And then I used a 9-volt battery and some wires and some salt water to do my etching, which I could have done a lot longer. I think it would have turned out a lot better, but I did do the RedShadow Forge on one side, and then I put a feather pattern on the other. I just used some vinyl stencil cutouts that we had. They stick to the blade, and then you go in with the Q-tip, make sure it's wet and connected to the 9-volt battery, and you leave it on for a little while. You can hear it sizzling. It's kind of a cool process, and we'll probably do some other videos just on that, just so you guys can see how I'm doing it. But anyway, it turned out pretty cool. I liked it. I liked the design of it. It wasn't a dream knife. It wasn't 100% perfect, but it's a camp knife. I made this so that I can take and use out in the woods, and I did a little bit of chopping earlier today. It did a decent job. No chips, no cracks, no rolls on the edge, which is I was really happy about. I did temper this inside in the oven. I did 2 cycles of 410 degrees, and then in between I let it cool down to room temperature. And each cycle's 2 hours long. But that was my heat treatment method for the 5160. Different steels require different things, and I'm still experimenting with a lot of different stuff, but I know that this does work. I've tested it. I've tested multiple other knives before on even bricks, and I don't have the issues that I was kind of expecting. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. That's enough on this. So I'll move along, talk about some of the upcoming projects. If you guys have been keeping up with the Facebook page, thank you so much, and we appreciate it. We love all the new comments, the new likes, everything you guys have been putting out. It's fantastic. We love to have a growing fan page. So like I said, if you have been keeping up with the Facebook page, you've probably seen a lot of this stuff. Real quick, I'm going to jump into another knife. I think I got one more knife I want to talk about after this one, but this is where I'm at with the buoy so far. I do have, I believe, 2 videos on YouTube already. The third one is still in the process of being made. I had a comment on the second video on YouTube, and I really appreciated the comment. It got me thinking, and again, I jumped to that knife, had a curved tang on it, and I learned that I don't want to mess with it. It's a headache. It's an unnecessary headache. So I do appreciate that comment in the last video for making me really think about it. So that's an issue that I have with this blade right now. I've got a curved tang on it. there's no need for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it back up at the forge, straighten the tang out. I've got a lot of surface grinding to do on this to get my profile right where I want it. And then I'll do a lot of hand sanding, which is what I did on that one. I did a lot of hand sanding before I did my oil quench and then my heat treat or my temper. That way it was less to scrape off and less to sand off by hand afterwards. Which that one I did want a rough finish. This one's going to be really nice and polished and shiny and all that. So I'll probably take it, hand sand it to 600 grit with maybe the false edge up here and the spine probably 1200 grit just to shine a little bit more and make it pop. But anyway, I'll jump away from this one, set that to the side, and then I'll talk about the Irish dirt project that I'm working on. Hopefully it will be out soon. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be out on St. Paddy's Day like I had hoped, but the weather's kind of not been on my side lately. The yard's finally a little bit more firm, but it's been pretty swampy lately. But anyway, I'm going to jump to this project real quick. This is a piece of 5160. It started off as 18 inches long, and I've drawn it out to 20 inches. This is way bigger than what I need for the project that I'm doing. This is starting to turn into more of a short sword, but I'm doing something I've never done before. I've never even seen it done. I'm sure it has been done. Shop cat. But let me jump back to the blade portion. I'm going to end up cutting a portion that's off so that I can short it, because as I thin it out, it's still really thick. It's almost 1/4 of an inch thick right now. So as I thin it down, it will draw out and become even longer. So I don't need all this material, but I don't want to jump back to the handle because I don't want to cut that off, because I'm working on, I took the hacksaw and made some notches. I'll have to zoom in a little bit. I made some notches right along here, and this is just my rough drawing of what I'm trying to get this to look like. But I made some notches on both sides, and what I'm trying to do with these notches is I'm going to take a chisel once I get it hot in the forge, and I'm going to spread this little piece right here and right here. I'm going to spread that out a little bit and forge it down and taper it out and use that as a cross guard or hand guard. I'm probably sounding like an idiot right now, but that way with this dagger, once it's a lot shorter, if you stab with it, your hand's not going to slide up. All right, this is not a traditional Irish dirt. I'm going to be using handle scales instead of a hidden tang and using a one piece of wood, but I'm still going to try to keep the traditional shape as close as I can to the handle, but we'll see. I'm really excited to see how this works out, but it's a trying process. If it doesn't work, I know, try harder next time or grab a new piece of steel and work something else into it. So that's what I got going on right now over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for my knife projects. Be on the lookout. I am going to try to get the next Bowie episode posted here pretty soon. But like I said, I still have quite a bit of work. So I'm going to go over some of the other stuff that we've gotten in the shop. I've got 2 of these long pieces of steel, which I've never used before, and I'm super excited. This is 52-100 steel. Super excited to try it out. My experience has been with 1075, 5160, some railroad spikes, a few other different things, but I like trying new steels. And the big exciting one that I'm really looking forward to is I got a couple projects coming up that are going to be this CRV2 steel, which is super popular right now with knife makers. I see it posted all over the place. Really excited to see how that works, how it forges. It's a higher carbon steel, so it may be a little bit tougher to forge, but we'll see how that works out. I'm just really excited. I've also got these 2 big old chunks of steel right here of, I believe, 4140 tool steel. I'm going to be making some hammers. Yeah. So I've got this one. It's going to be a little bit smaller of a hammer, and then this one should be around 3 to 3.5 ounces or 3.5 pounds when it's done. I've got some hammer tongs as well that we ordered to help out with this. I'm really excited to see how that goes. Looking forward to that a lot, because that was a goal of mine. I didn't just want to make knives during this whole venture. I wanted to make some other things. I made a screwdriver here a while back, which I need to actually get some pictures up to you guys. But the screwdriver, I wanted to make some hammers, and eventually I'll make some tongs and things like that, so that we offer more than just knives and swords and things like that. I'm gonna jump into this thing right here, spring fuller. I'm super happy about using this. I said the word excited a lot, and I apologize, but I am. I'm super excited about all this stuff. This just fits on the anvil, and this helps me get a nice even fuller along the whole blade. I've done a fuller before on a couple different blades, but I use a Dremel the entire way, and it really eats through your attachments and stuff, which that's another good point to talk about. if you're going to be using a Dremel or things like that, the more money you put into your attachments, the better quality of attachments. They'll last a lot longer. I use a lot of the cheap ones because they're cheap and I can just swap them out as they go, but this will help tremendously. All right, so if you take a look inside the propane forge that we've got here now, it's kind of falling apart. We've got a fire brick setting on the bottom where I set the steel, but the sides of it had some really thin refractory cement, and then you've got some kale wool on the inside. It's falling apart, and the burner that we're using right now, the Venturi burner, the burner we're using now, it burns a lot more propane than it needs to, and it doesn't get as hot as I would like it to. That's a big issue. All right, propane, money, time, it doesn't add up. So what we've done is ordered another burner. It's another forced air burner, but this will allow us to, and quieter, it will allow us to add more air in to the mixture of propane so that we're burning less propane and getting a lot hotter. The problem with this, and I've got everything fit up, and I will be doing a video on how to fit all this up and attach it to your forge, but my problem is that this pipe is bigger than this pipe, which is welded onto the forge already. So I'm gonna make a new forge. Gonna end up using an air canister. I was given an air tank. It's about this big, I don't know, some years ago. So I'm gonna be using that and just creating a whole new forge. We'll design everything up. We'll get some pictures posted. We'll have a video on it, and then we'll get this all fitted up. Over here, I've got a couple more attachments for the new forge. Got some kale wool, and I'll have to come over here. I can't pull these out right now, but I've got a bunch of soft fire brick that we're going to be using. So really looking forward to building this new project. I love fabricating things, love building things. And then what's really awesome is this right here. We've got brand new belts. True Grit hooked us up, and now we've got everything we need to get these knives going. Now the only thing we need is the weather to cooperate so that I'm not out here in the rain and in the cold and the hail and the swampy yards. It would be fantastic. But as you can see, we've got a ton of stuff coming up. We've got a lot of stuff in the works. I'm really excited to share with you guys. It's going to be a lot of videos over the next few weeks, especially over the next month as the weather gets a little nicer. Really looking forward to seeing it. If you guys haven't already, please like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think, let us know what you'd like us to do. We've got lots of steel, lacking on ideas, help us out. So thank you guys so much, and we appreciate everything you guys do for us. So thanks for watching our Forged in Thought episode 5, and hope to see you around next time. Thanks.